Dude, we better go live because I don't know how long this is gonna last. So I've got zero power right now. There's been a crazy lightning storm, and I was not prepared for it at all. I don't have any of my phones charged, and I cannot go live from my phone. So unless I go live from the laptop, and right now I'm on my mobile hotspot live from. But if the phone dies and the internet connection dies, now you're in, Steve. You're gonna have to run the show tonight, man.
All right,
the power's been off for like 30 minutes and it hasn't come back. So I don't know when it's coming back.
We will make do.
Whew,
so what's up, man? Welcome. Good to see you, man. I was getting a little worried there.
Yeah, man. I was not expecting. You know what's weird is it's been raining for like, I don't know, probably 30 minutes. And yeah, the lightning's been bad, but it's like it wasn't terrible. Then all of a sudden I hear this thing like outside at the street, and it's like, oh, really? You know, so ever since the power's been off. Not prepared for hurricane season. So this is like forcing me to get prepared for the hurricane season, I guess.
You need to have all your phones pre-charged. You need to have some backup battery packs going and whatnot.
That's probably my internet.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. I'm on a mobile hotspot.
Yeah, there'll be some minor lag from that, but nonetheless, we'll forge through it.
Well, as long as we can, man. Hopefully the power will come back on here very shortly, and there'll be a little bit of downtime, but we can get rolling. I don't even remember the questions. I do remember one question.
I could pull them up, Andy. I could pull them up here.
You can pull them up. Excellent. So I know we're going to talk about Patrick Mahomes card prices tonight. I know we're talking about Miles Sanders card prices. We're going to be digging into some schedule analyzation. We're going to be talking some offensive line ranking. We're digging into what else? There's like optic versus base Donruss, which is like the consensus number one there, the best rated rookie. There was a question.
A question about
what else you got, Steve?
There was a question about players' cards from when they were active versus produced after they retired.
Yes. So let's dig in while we can, man, because I don't know how long this is going to last, how long we have good internet for.
So if you'd like, I'll run us down the gauntlet here with the first question.
Yeah, let me shout out some of these guys in the chat real quick. Got to make sure to acknowledge the community who did turn out for this and is bearing through this storm with us. Third and long, Jets crazy. Our man Derek Richer. We got Boggy in the house. Steven Cummins. Yo, Derek, Halo's finest. Beating the one. Derek. My man 402 Collector. Yeah, Steve, where's the headband? No time for headband talk tonight. Sorry. We got Steve's.
Yeah, I had to retire it in honor of the other Zach Wilson news going on.
Oh man, which news is that?
His preference for mature women, I suppose.
Oh. I wonder if he gets that, that trait from his father, I guess. We've got Andrew Perry in the house, Billy T's in the house, Matthew Steets. All right, Matt Overby, what's good, man? What's good? All right, let's dig in, Steve. What's the first question, sir?
Let us look here.
The mailbag.
Right, Filthy C from the Patreon Discord server asking about thoughts on Miles Sanders. And he says it's a bit of a risky play, but it's a contract year. He could have a blow-up game. Prices seem good right now. What do you think? I think I'm a little bit concerned about that. I don't doubt that he has the ability. I'm worried that there's too many mouths to feed in that backfield. Gainwell. Okay. You have, of course, the man himself, Miles Sanders. Jalen Hurts is going to run the ball quite a bit. Then there was one more gentleman. He played there last year. I can't remember his name. He was on the Saints the year before, though.
Boston Scott.
That's the other guy.
Scott. Yeah. The nice thing is, Steve, the only running back they brought in this offseason was an undrafted free agent, and some guy that nobody's ever heard of. So that's no competition for Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders has a pretty solid athletic profile. The problem with Miles Sanders is he gets hurt every year. Like, he's hurt every year, and he's put up close to 1,000 receiving yards every year since 2019, since being a rookie. And the Philadelphia Eagles did run the ball the most on a per game basis last year in the league. So it's like, and you look at their offensive line this year, it's elite. It's apparently, according to PFF, it's the best ranked offensive line in the league. So Miles Sanders, I absolutely want to have exposure to. I'm just not like, I'm not buying National Treasures, super expensive stuff of Miles Sanders, but I saw a field level silver last night and for like $5. I'm like, from 2019, a field level silver for $5. Heck yeah. Cause I don't want to go into week one. They're playing the Lions with the best offensive line in the league, and Miles Sanders goes off for 4 touchdowns, and because they run the ball so much, and I have no exposure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wouldn't go too crazy. I wouldn't, spend your bankroll on Miles Sanders, but he's in a good position to have a couple games where you're going to maybe wish you had a few, optic silvers, or like you said, field level silvers laying around.
There you go. That's the guy. Kennedy Brooks was the undrafted free agent. Yeah, I mean, Kenneth Gainwell, I like it because he's got a cool last name, and he's like a satellite back. He's a smaller guy. He's got good receiving ability. He was also used a lot in the red zone last year. So I like Kenneth Gainwell, especially because Miles Sanders is not healthy. Like, he hasn't been healthy. He hasn't played a full season since his rookie year. So, I mean, the chances of him getting hurt again are pretty high. And you want to have exposure to Kenneth Gainwell because they run the ball so much. But of course, the primary guy there to own, he's so undervalued, is Jalen Hurts. I can't, dude. It's a crazy, man. The value of what he's still going at, knowing that everything he's surrounded with is just insane. Like, and their defense is better. You look at their defensive line with Fletcher Cox and what's his name, Javon Hargraves, who's a badass. And then they bring in that monster, like just a behemoth of a dude, Jordan Davis, I think his name is, from Georgia. They draft Nakobe Dean. They already got Darius Slay on the outside, so their defense is legit, right? Their defense is legit top tier. I think they win the NFC East. So I want to have exposure to all pieces of Philadelphia Eagles this year, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the one thing with him, I did actually watch a video on him yesterday, and unfortunately a lot of his injuries were all like ones you just can't get around as a running back, thigh, knee, ankle, you know what I mean? If you got a rib, you can wear a little special protective vest and you can work through that. But with the leg injuries, you're just not able to play through those. And you could call it bad luck, or you can call it, that's just maybe he's a little bit injury prone. So it's too early to say realistically, but I think this will be a defining season, whether or not he gets that label put on him.
Yeah. And I pull up eBay right now, but I don't want to sacrifice any more bandwidth on my mobile hotspot like I got, guys. So if you're just tuning out, hit the like button on this live stream and subscribe if you're not already, because I am committed to you guys coming on here. No power at my house, lightning storm, sweating out here, on a mobile hotspot. We'll see how long this lasts. But what do we got for the next question? See, the good thing about this is I've got to drink all the beer in the fridge, right? Because it could go.
You can't let it go bad. So I admire your commitment, Andy. Next question from Benro07 in the YouTube community page. He asks, what kind of card sets should you invest in, and what brands? So we'll have a link in the video description regarding that. So if you keep an eye out for that once we go live on YouTube.
Yeah, you're good, man. Man, that is a loaded question, dude. Like, that is so dependent on, the year. Let's talk about the year. Let's talk about the current circumstance of the player, and then let's talk about the position of the player, and how popular they are, the team that they're on. All that kind of stuff goes in, and then ultimately, what's your budget? What budget do you have to play with? And I think that all that kind of goes together, and then from there you can kind of figure out what card you're going to get into.
Yeah, I agree, because it's not in the realm of reality for most people to dig in and get a bunch of national treasures of a guy, and maybe even for Prism, depending on your budget. So, you might need to look at, base donruss, or you might need to look at Mosaic as your ceiling, or whatever the case might be. So there is We do actually, I think have a few videos published regarding that topic. But we can always recover that in the near future as
Yeah,
well.
I'd say generally speaking, rated rookie logo is super liquid. It's super popular. It's iconic. Prism brand is iconic. That's like the king retail set of the hobby next to rated rookies. The rookie ticket auto, go watch that video. You'll understand why I think that is like ultimately the best sweet spot. You can get rookie ticket autos of skill position players for around $20 to $30, depending on their popularity, where they're at in the rankings. That is a really good spot. The quarterbacks, you're going to be looking at over $100, and the elite quarterbacks over $1,000. But that's when you have to kind of reassess what your strategy is. That's why we say it depends so much on the year, the player, the position, the team scenario. There's just so many factors that go into that, like putting together a puzzle or solving a Rubik's cube kind of. But we help you out. We've got a lot of videos that dive into the various topics surrounding that. So definitely check those out. Get more information on that.
Well said, sir. Well said. Jumping into the next topic, LOB Roses from the Discord server. What is more valuable, an optic rated rookie of the base card or the base paper rated?
Wait for it. I do need a generator, by the way.
Never a bad investment, I would agree. I would say, generally speaking, the optic rated rookie. If we're talking base cards only, if you're looking base versus base optic is typically going to be more expensive than base paper.
Oh, what I was going to say to this, Steve, is that if you look at the only where I would say I would deviate from optic, because it's a thicker card stock and it's like a nicer card than the base. It's like basically a base Donruss, but with a thicker chrome kind of finish, is look at 2018, 2019. The optic and the base Donruss are different. Whereas the optic, the players got the helmet on. The base Donruss, no helmet. So sometimes I see Kyler, Lamar, Baker, these guys from Josh Allen from 2018, 2019 without the helmet on. All of a sudden, that card kind of sneaks up a little bit because you just like basketball card stuff, you build a deeper connection with the player in the card when they don't have a helmet on.
I would say that the interesting thing about the Donruss base paper is that when it just comes out, there's an exorbitant amount of heat for it. People want it. When optic comes out, some of that desirability does take a little bit of a dive. But once you move past the current draft cycle and you're on to the following year, it does kind of come back up a bit. So keep that in mind when you're deciding, when to get in on the base paper Donruss.
Yes, I think I caught the tail end of that. That is true. The base rated rookie comes out at the beginning of the season. The optic comes out at the end. I think that's what you were talking about. Talking about the release date, the differences.
Yeah, so, and I just mentioned how the base Donruss does kind of dive down in demand when the optic comes out temporarily. But once the next draft cycle begins, it does kind of stabilize a bit. So the best time to probably buy the base Donruss would be around the time optic comes out, if you had to look at it that way. All right.
Hopefully
we got a question from Ray Finkel on the Discord server. What is the biggest loss you took on a card investment, and what did you learn so you can try to better avoid it in the future?
For me, it's Daniel Jones that I bought last year, and I'm not quite in the loss on that yet, but I am stuck holding like 4 or 5 Daniel Jones PSA 9 slabs, optics, select silvers even. Actually, I think it's like 6 total slabs I have. So a few $100s, and they're all 9s, and they're all of the more base variation. Yeah, man, I'm stuck holding those. I think I was, betting on speculative QB and the right scenarios. Obviously, there was multiple things that went wrong with the Giants last year, and they're right back there where he's obviously still well undervalued. He's still, a lot of people have written him off, and he's going super late in fantasy drafts, but he's got upside. He's got potential this year. So hopefully I could turn that current loss into a net positive, or at least a break even sometimes like beginning of September here.
So it's an unrealized loss. You haven't decided to sell the card yet. And I think that both Daniel Jones and Saquon cards have a good chance to recover this year. So if you're still hanging on to those guys, I know I have a few Daniel Jones laying around, which I have good faith he'll bounce back this year. Not saying he'll be like, the next guy, but he'll bounce back from where he's been for sure.
I don't know who you're going to say is going to be the next something, but
he's not going to be like an S tier quarterback in the league.
I've also got a lot of Calvin Ridley cards too, Steve. I got a lot of Calvin Ridley cards that I'm holding on to. Don't know if anything's going to happen to them. I'll say the one guy that's probably like, I'm probably going to take a loss on, like never going to come back. Maybe Calvin Ridley, but Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims was a total bust. And a lot of that is like the N'Keal Harry corollary, kind of where the work ethic is not good. Maybe the Jalen Reagor corollary where the work ethic is not good. Miles Boykin is another guy that comes to mind where these guys are like, Devontae Parker is another great example. These guys are athletic phenoms coming out of college, but they just don't put in the work. They get that paycheck from the NFL and then they chill. It's either they got food poisoning or calf cramp, or it's always something, and they just never really put in the work. They don't have that passion to be the best in the league like a Stephon Diggs or a Devontae Adams. They bust.
Yeah, there's a big adjustment to make from the college to the pro level, and I think a lot of guys just get rather than put the extra effort in and look.
I've got quite a few, bro. I've got quite a few.
Same. Yeah, a lot of guys hit that wall and they don't want to try to push through it. It's easier to just take a step back once they get paid. So I do agree. I think the only card that I'm a little bit semi-sweating is I did pick up last year one big Darnold card, and it was right before that decline around week 6.
Oh, no!
Yeah. So if I had sold it like a week earlier, I would have been good. But that's really the only one card that I'm kind of like, hit or miss on. And I'm not fully giving up on him yet. He's still super young. He still is competing. They're saying it's an open QB competition. So the jury will be out on that one for a while. But not super worried about it because I know you and I have done really well on a lot of the guys we've picked up, especially positional players. But the Darnold speculative buy, if he does come back, I'll be handsomely rewarded for it. We'll say that.
Yeah, man. Wow. I think you might have to throw that towel in, but that's the beauty with cards, Steve, is that you can always hold on for a later date in the attempts to sell down the future, especially if you're buying into active players and you're not paying just an obscene amount of money. Then yeah, you checked your comps, you did your research, you fair market deal, but the player didn't pan out, but they're still in the league. There's still a possibility they could bring some relevance down the road. He's got some draft pedigree. Maybe once upon a time something could happen. He gets a start, gets some relevancy, and you liquidate the card. You just kind of break even.
And this is why entry price is important, because I didn't buy it after he blew up.
That's about how I feel about my power. That face that you were just... I don't know if it's me freezing out. I hear the comments in the chat, or I see the comments in the chat. I don't know if it's me freezing or if it's you freezing. I know it's me because I'm on a mobile hotspot.
All good, man. Yeah, no, it's probably on your end. We're looking A-okay over here. But yeah, luckily I didn't pay a lot to get in the card, even though it is a scarce card. I did buy it pre-last season, thinking that he would do well with the Panthers. So even if he does bomb, like I'm not completely sunk, you know what I mean? So there's still a good chance I'll recover a lot of, if not most of my investment, even if he does, go down with the ship. So not too worried about that. But anytime you're speculating on QBs, especially guys that aren't top tier, I mean, you're looking at major gains or major losses. Just be aware of that. Giving up on Ridley, man. He's about one strike away from being out of the league forever. I'm not giving up on him, but It's thin ice, man. It's really thin.
Yeah, really thin. I mean, he had mental issues, which turned into gambling issues and betting on games. And that's something the league takes very, very seriously. So he's already out indefinitely with a chance to appeal after a year. So he's already missed just an insane amount of time. And he's going to just like be suspended through his entire prime. I mean, he was already a 2018 rookie. I know he was young coming out, but man, I mean, by the time he comes back, I think he could maybe be a mid-tier wide receiver at best at this point. Never going to make a run for the Hall of Fame with the amount of time he's missed, in my opinion. So,
he would have to come back and have some really prolific seasons to have a shot even. But you know what? He is good enough that if he comes back, he can make a big splash. But again, can he come back to the level that he was at is the big question.
Man, I'm sorry, Steve, about that internet. I'm tempted to add myself into the mobile and then remove myself from the computer.
You're good, man. You might just be getting, packet loss on your end from my video, but I can hear you loud and clear, man.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. All right, let's Antonio Brown. I mean, Antonio Brown's a lock for the Hall of Fame. Antonio Brown's a Hall of Famer if they just don't let him in because he's crazy, but he's got a couple screws loose. But otherwise, statistically speaking, he's a lock for the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, I feel like there's some more validity there than Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, definitely agree. He would have to come back and he would have to pick up right where he left off. And maybe when he comes back, they'll have that quarterback situation figured out, even if they allow him back.
Yes, sir. All right, what do we got?
Jumping on to the next question. Jets Crazy 87 from the Discord server says, you're new to the hobby, or maybe you're coming back to the hobby, or maybe you're like me and you've just taken a summer off from cards, but either way you're in. Would you rather take a chance on a bunch of unknowns and pray for a breakout moment with a quick spike, 5 cards, $20 each, or buy one rookie QB numbered or auto for $100?
That's a good question. Man, which QB can I get an auto of for $100? Is that what he said at the end?
None that are starters. Almost for certain. I've been looking. So yeah.
I was gonna say, let's pull that guy up. We need to be buying some of that.
Yeah, I've been looking. I mean, I've been trying to keep an eye on Zach Wilson's, especially because I said that I thought he's going to have an improved year, and very hard to find under 200 even.
Did you see that? So I put a Kyler Murray auction in a backstage pass. It was a patron only content, and it was a Kyler Murray rookie ticket auto that ended at lunchtime today for $350. I thought that was incredibly underpriced. It was a little tiny bit of off center from left to right, but incredible value on that card.
Yeah, and here's something to ponder: is that's less than the 2021 rookie class quarterbacks have been going for.
Interesting.
By a lot. You're looking at 500-600 and up for the last year's rookie class.
Yeah, and that card is considerably more scarce when we're talking 2019 versus 2020 or 2021, and I love the design of 2019. I don't know about you guys out there, but yeah, I love the design. Oh, James coming with the General Davis Mills $100 autos. Okay, all right, I could get down with that. So, I mean, understand. I guess it all depends on what my time frame is, and what the risk level is. Obviously, you could get in on safer investment for skill position players at a lower dollar value, but still have the same percentage upside. So if a guy breaks out big time, the team's winning, he's young. So there's the FOMO and the hype factor built around him, and it's easy for him to break out. It's not like Brandon Cooks going for another wide receiver 10 season and his team's not making the playoffs. No, we're talking about, T. Higgins stepping forward and doing his thing with Joe Burrow and potentially leading the league in receiving yards or something like that, and having these big weeks and these big finishes on a weekly basis, you could potentially get into an autographed serial numbered card of his for $20-$30, get a few of those, and then sell those for $80 a piece. I feel like you have better safety in that versus buying a Davis Mills auto because of the team scenario that he's in and the age that he's at and the price point that you got in at. And the fact that he's going to be playing at a high level with Joe Burrow for at least the next 3 years. And obviously, the Bengals would be out of their minds if they didn't extend both of those guys, plus Chase and whoever else they can on this team. But that right there, that whole, all of that's a perfect storm. You want to bottle that up and get as much of that as you can. And if that's what your budget allows for, then I would go for that over the Davis Mills.
Saw Zach Wilson playoff auto 149 for 150 this morning. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, you might be able to find them at or just under the $200 mark, but like I said, you're going to be looking at some of the more entry level card sets. Like you're not going to find contenders and you're not going to find Prism for sure. I think even Donruss's are higher than that due to the rated rookie desirability. But I would say this, and I've mentioned this on a couple different episodes. I really like the $2 card, right? And yeah, it's a little more work to flip because you'll have to list it and sell it and ship it. But here's why. A $2 card, you can catch them falling through the cracks at a higher rate, even if it's a not as speculative player. And the multiplier, when they do break out, is not going to be much different than if it was a higher set, for example. And the $2 card turning into a $10 card is very realistic, but if it fails, it's still at least a $1 card. If you take a huge risk on a $100 auto of a guy that bombs out, it could turn into a $20, $30 card. So I think the risk mitigation is much higher for the one card versus the fewer cards.
Whew. We got both laptops charging devices. The ring light thing is a USB power device. So sorry if I distracted you there, Steve. That was a fantastic answer. I love that analysis, man. Love that analysis.
Yeah, so keep an eye if there's a guy that you're targeting or guys that you're targeting. Look for auctions that are going to end in, like, hypothetically in the $1 to $4 range. And, get in on some serial numbered Prism cards, get in on some serial numbered optic cards, guys that are going under the radar. And those give you the greatest opportunity to flip for a profit if that's what you're trying to do, versus one big speculative play. That's like throwing a Hail Mary and trying to win the game. Unless you get really lucky, there's not always a chance that it pans out for you.
Well, I know you and I kind of both have come to this conclusion that the Detroit Lions are a dark horse to way exceed their Vegas odds this year. Jared Goff is one of those guys. So now we're talking about 2016 rookie product. And yeah, maybe he's not in a Lions uniform, but Lions colors go really well with none other than silver prism, right? I mean, like, silver finish is like synonymous with the Lions. And I think that the 2016 Prism, which comes base for rookies as a silver, is a fantastic investment, especially if you can get a graded. Now we're talking really liquid. So the Dak Prescott variation, which is also undervalued in my opinion, currently around $150 for a 9, maybe a little bit less. And that time that range or raw around 100 to 150. Whereas you can get a Jared Goff Silver Prism rookie card for, I don't know, like $10-15. Steve, is that still what you're seeing in the market? As I know you look at Goff on a weekly basis.
I do. I do like Goff as an investment. And I will say that here's why it helps to be like just a little bit ahead of the curve is I was already buying in last year when they were able to be bought for like under $5, right? And now they're selling for 20 and up. So you can still find deals on them because there's still people that aren't sold on them. But the last thing you want to do is wait for them to come out of the gates swinging, and then you have no cards laying around. So there are deals on some Goffs. I've picked up a Goff lot that I couldn't believe I won. It was like a Spectra numbered out of 10 and a couple other really low serial numbered cards. And there's just guys that aren't buying into the Goff thing. And maybe Goff isn't like the long-term solution, but if he's the QB when they start winning, by default, his cards are going to start going up.
Yeah, very true. And there's that. It's week one has massive implications, right? Because they're playing the Eagles, and the Eagles are teed up to smash them. If the Eagles smash them, then this is going to be great for Jalen Hurts and company. But if the Lions win, you're all of a sudden, because of this inherent scarcity around 2016 product, and especially cards in great condition, like highly graded cards, you're going to see the values of Goff's cards potentially jump up a lot. I mean, he is a former number one overall pick, so he's got that kind of history. It's just he's not like his success is his performance isn't flashy, right? His game is not flashy. His success is going to be based on his team winning, in my opinion. And they do have good skill position players. They also have an elite offensive line now. They have a top 5 ranked offensive line according to PFF heading into this season. So, I mean, there's definitely that potential there, at least for him to be in a lot of shootout scenarios. So we could see him finish pretty good, especially compared to what his current like fantasy value is. So I think Goff is definitely a value in fantasy drafts, but I definitely think he's also, like you said, worth having exposure too, because he's one of those guys, if they do beat the Eagles week one, all of a sudden we're going to see a big hype spike for Goff cards.
If you actually go back a couple seasons and look at his fantasy point production, like there's seasons where he was, around or near the top 10 in fantasy production, which is, most people only think back a year or two, and it's, the what have you done for me lately? But this is probably the best offensive weapons he's ever had around him. And he's got a great O-line, and he's got a good defense, an improved defense, maybe not a good defense, but they just drafted the number 1 pick at defensive end. So it could be good. I mean, they literally could be good. And that you have question marks in the division with the Vikings could be massively improved with their new coach and coordinator. And then the Packers being a big question mark because can they be the same team without Devontae Adams? I think that they will take a small step back, but they always find a way to win. So there's a lot of question marks, but I think that they could just find a way to sneak into the playoffs or at least come close.
Oh man, that's going to be tough. Dude, I am still finding deals. I'm looking at deals right now. Of course, this live stream started off a little erratic because I have this giant thunderstorm, this lightning storm that won't go away, and my power is still not on. And it is starting to warm up in my house, but because I am in Tampa, Florida. So if you're tuned in, make sure to smash that like button for us and subscribe if you're not, because we are committed to the best football card content in the world. And so, but I am still finding deals. Bring it back to football cards here, Steve. I am still finding deals. I'm going to try and share my screen here. I'm going to show you some stuff that has ended that I think was a snipe and some stuff that is getting ready to end that I think are snipes. I'm seeing some really good deals. One guy incredibly undervalued, Marquise Brown on the Arizona Cardinals. Just I don't know why he's so egregiously undervalued.
His high-end stuff, I will say, has been selling for quite a bit more than before the trade, but there's definitely still deals to be had. And I did pick up a DAC, a really well-centered DAC optic yesterday for under $30. So, I mean, there's this active sleep session on Dak Prescott still.
So we're still finding deals third and long. It has not leveled off. Hey, what's up, Doc? That I don't expect anything less from you, Brandon Looney Tunes fan 2000. Got to have the what's up, Doc. Synonymous with your brand there. Love it.
I noticed, Andy, that you mentioned on your show with Carter that the market's picking back up. And I know that even before you said anything, I had several sales at the end of last week and this week. Things have already started really picking up. And that timer till the start of football camp is what? A week, 2 weeks? It's coming up really quickly here.
Yes, 2-a-days are getting ready to start. So yeah, it's coming up very quickly. and it is heating up because I have sold a bunch of cards this week. Guess who I sold? I sold a nice DJ Moore, and then I sold a couple Christian Kirks, and then I sold a Cortland Sutton. So all wide receivers, that's a lot of where my sweet spot is. And it was DJ Moore field level silver, SGC 9.5 for $70, and then a Cortland Sutton select concourse silver for 15, and then the Christian Kirk was a Prism Red Wave numbered out of 149 for 20. But I mean, those were all cards that they were more than double ups for me, because I just like, and that's why I love that the wide receiver skill position sweet spot. I think it's like, in terms of prioritizing budget, obviously quarterbacks see the most, but now it's kind of shifted. There is a shift, I think, and wide receivers are kind of in that second place spot. There's only a few running backs that can really compete with the young wide receivers, but the young wide receivers, and these are guys that you could potentially snipe throughout the week. And this is like my claim to fame. This is my brand, like throughout the week, in the morning, afternoon, snipe these guys whenever you can, and then just list them in a buy it now, and people will reach for them whenever their relevance peaks.
I will say, Jets Crazy said something about Jacoby Brissett cards. I did sell a couple optic numbered parallels Jacoby Brissett this week. So there's people that are getting in on him. I think it's getting more and more likely that he's going to be the QB for them this year.
Look at Jacoby Brissett's going to start the season. I don't think Deshaun Watson, I saw a tweet from Sleeper the other day, I think Deshaun Watson's only going to get like a 6-game suspension now after that NFL investigation surfaced some interesting stuff, some interviews from some of the accusers' family members. And I mean, hey, I don't know what actually happened. Obviously, only Deshaun knows, and probably people close in his camp. But I think what's going to happen, if there's not some kind of crazy public outroar, the NFL is only going to suspend him for like 6 to 8 games or something like that. But Jacoby Brissett is going to start the season. Honestly, I mean, with how good their run game is, how good their offensive line is, it's still incredible. Kevin Stefanski, he is an established the run guy. Like, you could maybe buy some Brissett, but I'd be buying friggin' Nick Chubb on the any kind of under comp Nick Chubb stuff you can. Maybe Dearness Johnson, because Nick Chubb maybe get banged up, miss a week. Dearness Johnson is the kind of guy that goes out there and puts it on the line, man. He could ball out.
It's funny you mentioned Chubb, though, because, everyone that drafted Chubb in their fantasy last year was just expecting monumental things, right? And, he had a good year. He didn't meet his level of expectation, right? And that just goes to show you that you can have a good year and still lose value in the hobby or in a fantasy ADP for the following year simply by just having just a downtick in production. If you look at what he did last year, it was still really good. And if you look at where he's being drafted and where his card values are, they're way down, right? I mean, he's a guy that was getting drafted in end of the first, beginning of the second round, or even late second round the previous year. And now you can find him third, fourth. I've seen him even fifth a couple times. So obviously that depends on what kind of draft you're doing, but he's going to be leaned on heavily, especially with Brissett in at quarterback.
Yeah. Check out this Gabe Davis. This one was sick because it was a cracked ice, and the seller listed the serial. He put number 141 out of 50. In fact, it was a numbered out of 50, and I thought it just looked really sick. Obviously, rookie card, the whole 9 yards, and the back of it was in fact 02 out of 50. And so labeled it wrong. I thought this one went at pretty good. It actually jumped up 36, which is not bad, but still, you can see there's some deals out there, especially just like that silver prism Marquise Brown. I mean, he's another dark horse to be a receiving yardage leader in the NFL, especially through the first 6 weeks with no DeAndre Hopkins.
Andy, I do have a eBay link I want to share with you if you want to share it with.
Okay, let me see if I can pull it up here. Let me stop sharing this. The sharing's a little tricky because I can't. Everything I have is USB powered up right now. So I've got multiple laptops and energy bricks powering everything USB, but the second monitor is not USB powerable. And so I've got the one monitor, and it's a little weird. So let me see. You got the private chat. There was a starred question I saw before my power went off. I hopped on here early, Steve. I was ready to go, man. I had all kinds of stuff prepared. Dan coming with the Tua. He came in super early, so he got his question in with the Tua. Do you think if he has a better season than Herbert and Burrow, his prices will be at their levels? No. That's what's your take, Steve? I was saying no.
I mean, if he did have a better season than them, then yeah, but I don't think they quite like run the offense at high enough pace for that to even be possible. I mean, I don't think Tua has a ceiling of like 40 or more touchdowns. I think it's more like 30 right now until we see a full season out of him. But I mean, no, Tua hate. I do like Tua actually, but I think they're going to rely a lot more on mid-range plays rather than field stretching, and they're going to run the ball a lot more. So I think his ceiling more like 30 touchdowns. But I think here's the thing: is if he does play above his expected value, you will see a dramatic rise in his card values. You already have actually. So I had to share this Van Jefferson. We're talking wide receivers. You and I both love Van Jefferson. This is a 1-of-1 Go Rams autograph.
That's cool.
So in case it's a very cool set.
This is a printing plate, Steve?
No, that's a regular 1-of-1.
Oh, wow, man.
That is a 1-of-1 of the auto. I actually have that card, but not the 1-of-1, obviously. I have a whatever out of 80 or whatever it is. So yeah, that's a beautiful card, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I love the Go Rams. Man, that is juicy, especially thinking that the Rams are certainly going to be back in the playoffs, making another run this year. And Van Jefferson as a field stretcher in that offense, you never know. Like, right? Guys miss games all the time. Like Cooper Kupp before last year struggled with injuries. Allen Robinson hasn't historically struggled with injuries, but he's also getting older. And you just never know when the right situation Stafford is going to light up Van Jefferson. We dug into his training style and what his coach, like not his coach, but there is a consultant that works with Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, and he says Van Jefferson separates off the line of scrimmage and breaks away from defenders just as good as those guys. And we know that Van Jefferson's dad was a wide receiver in the league. And he has that same desire to be the best separator in the NFL. So he's going to bring it, play in and play out. I like Van Jefferson. I like Van Jefferson a lot.
Believe it or not, he sees a lot of red zone targets. Typically, you don't see that out of field stretcher, but there was a large stretch where he was being almost exclusively targeted in the red zone. So this is not. You got to understand when you're getting into a card like this of a guy who's not yet the guy, who's not yet, caught on in the hobby. Like it might take a couple months and him to have a few good games to see a massive turn on this one. But a card like this is a massive turn. This could be a $100-ish buy that could, if he goes off and has a great year, could be a $400 or $500 card. A similar card of, Justin Jefferson, let's say, wouldn't you think would probably be like 800 to 1,000, maybe higher even?
Easy. And that's the thing. Like he's not popular right now. He's not hyped up, but this is the time to buy him and stash him. It's the same thing with a guy like Elijah Moore. I love Elijah Moore. If you look at his win rate against man coverage, Elijah Moore is going to command targets in that offense because he's that freaking good at separating against man coverage at the line of scrimmage. Those are the kind of traits you want to look for when investing in wide receivers. It doesn't necessarily matter if they're hyped up right now. Like if you want to buy in at the best price point, you want to target ultimately the best guys at their position, and then stash them. We also got to think of contract years. So one big thing that I'm going to do that's going to be a big topic this year, Steve, especially in November, and I'm kind of galaxy braining this and talking ahead on this, but looking at 2019 rookie cards, in November, early December, of guys that are at the best at their position in the NFL because they're in a contract year, and because I think what we've seen now is a shift from the biggest hype cycle unanimously. Like, right? I mean, of course, the hype cycle is going to be bigger for guys that are on winning teams that are in MVP or top, consideration in their position category heading into December, that have been playing so good out of the gates. But for everybody else, they dip in November and early December, only then for a playoff push to be focused on the playoff teams. And then going into the off season, there is a big hype cycle for everybody who played good the previous season. In this case, it'll be 2022 season. So my goal is, and then we see what happens when guys go to new teams or get new quarterbacks on their team. So it makes sense to target 2019 rookies because they'll all be going, all those skill position 2019 rookies will be going into contract years.
And Andy, you've got a great track record on the channel with predicting wide receiver breakouts. And, a lot of us, in the Discord can say that we've bought cards on your recommendation or players on your recommendation, and they've all done great, within a week, few months of you talking about them. So a guy like Van Jefferson, for example, can be had, at a bargain price right now. So, is it a guarantee? I mean, nothing's a guarantee, but do you want to wait till he has that breakout to get in, or do you not want to? That's the thing, is he's got Stafford as a quarterback. He's on a team that's probably going to go to the Super Bowl, and he's got that field stretching speed. So I think it's a good investment. Again, we're not talking about him becoming Justin Jefferson, but can you make money on his cards? And I think absolutely.
Yeah, he's got a Ford TD game at some point in the future. So what other questions we got in the mailbag, Steve?
All right, next question here.
What's up, Tom Bullard in the house? Pick six trading lighting up the chat over here.
All right, outside of special inserts like Downtown or Kaboom, I feel that I'm more of a sucker for cards that were manufactured when a player was actually playing. For example, a Peyton Manning card when he was playing versus a serial numbered 2021 Prism. Am I in the minority?
Ooh, well, this is great. We get to involve the entire chat in this one. We need to take a consensus here.
And that was Justin Robertson from the YouTube community, just to give him some credit there.
Yeah. I appreciate that question, Justin. That's fantastic. Appreciate that. That's a tough one. I would say that Peyton Manning's legacy, to me, a lot of it's with the Colts and then some with the Broncos. But I mean, if I'm getting a Peyton Manning card, I'm typically going for a rookie, but I know that cards were so overprinted. It's hard to get like really nice condition too from 98. And so like, I'm okay with a rare card of Peyton Manning. I feel like Peyton Manning, for a lot of people, he is their GOAT. Shout out to our guy Sean from Jonathan Taylor Cards, hashtag not my GOAT, and Peyton Manning. I think Peyton Manning's your GOAT too, right, Steve?
He's right up there with Brady. I mean, I think that there's no doubt that those guys will always be looked at as the two best quarterbacks, at least for now, of all time. And I know that's going to be a polarizing discussion in the chat if it isn't already. But yeah, I mean, I grew up, I'll be completely honest, I was more a fan of Manning than Brady, when they were both rookies and beyond. And I think that they're equal in skill. I know that's going to be, a polarizing topic as well. But yeah, his rookie cards did come at a time when the cards were very overprinted, so they aren't that expensive. I mean, when you think about what the rookie cards from 2021 go for, it's astronomical in comparison. So you have to find like the rarest of the rare Peyton Manning to see a lot of dollar signs. But yeah, I would say, am I going to eat those pizza rolls? Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the chat. I think that it does make sense, especially if you're finding something that is game used. if you can find a piece of game used jersey and it's from a period in where he was playing, I mean, hell yes. Like that's what I'd ultimately kind of be going for there. I think that's really cool. I think that has even more scarcity, especially if it's like a game used patch with some grass stains or blood on it or something. That would be awesome. Newer stuff, Peyton Manning, I think is cool. You're right. It doesn't have the same effect as from when he was actually playing. But at the same time, when he was actually playing, like the pictures on the card are from when he was playing. So even if it's new, so ultimately, maybe the autograph's not. But I think when it comes to game use patches, I'm going to go, yes, playing era, but or rookie card. And then otherwise, like for just like the cool designs and stuff, I like today's cards. I think some of the designs today are really cool. Like let me see if I got this on my screen. I'm looking at some of the 2021 Peyton Manning. There we go. I got the 2021 Peyton Manning. Like that's an awesome looking card right there from National Treasures, ending tomorrow with
I
the
think
signature.
an interesting way to look at this is, I think that in theory, I think most of us would prefer like when he was playing, but the variety, and we've discussed this before, the number of cards printed and the variety of cards printed now versus then is dramatically different. So you don't see stuff like cracked ice, and you don't see National Treasures back then. That's all new stuff. And the one-of-ones and the RPAs with the autos, those weren't as prevalent back then like you have now. So you do have more options. And here's the thing: is everyone wants the new product that's out, and and some would disagree. I think unfortunately they print way too many veterans in new sets, and some people like that, some people don't. I personally would like to see more players that aren't getting involved in the print runs as often versus guys that have been out of the league for 20 years. Just my opinion. But can we get a couple kickers? Can we get like the top 10 linemen? Something? Anyone? Panini? Hello?
Yeah, they did print cards for like Tristan Wirfs. They tend to print cards for based on draft pedigree. If they were drafted in the first round as a lineman, like I expect some cards to be printed for Ike Ekwonu and oh man, his name is slipping my mind, but the guy that Evan Neal that got drafted by the Giants. I expect some cards because I think they also recognize the teams that are more popular. They're looking at the TV market areas as well. I guarantee you. I kind of get that feeling just by looking at availability of certain cards of certain players and versus others, and even guys that I'm like, that's pretty frivolous. That guy didn't quite get drafted to like the third or fourth round, but yet you still have like him printed in all the sets and he's got all the cards. And it's probably because he's on a big market team.
Yeah. Pick Six said Tyler Bass and Young Wei Koo, and I think that's great. I think that there should be more of that. I mean, if you remember the late 90s and prior, you had large card sets, and you had not every player from every team, but you had a pretty good selection. And lower market teams in the current prints, sometimes they don't even have 3-4 guys from the team. You have like 2 active players and a bunch of retired veterans. And I think that that's kind of like a little bit backwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, this is a good point, man. Was that the last question in the mailbag?
I believe so. It was. It actually was.
Oh, yeah. We the People. I like this guy. I've not seen you in the chat before, We the People, but welcome to the stream. Everybody say what's up to We the People. I'm all over Tony Pollard as well, my friend. And heck yeah. Let me see what's going on Tony Pollard on eBay, man. Let's do a Tony Pollard search.
Oh man, I've seen some this evening. They're going for a lot, and here's my concern with that. Is there going to be room to grow still? That's the big question. Because people are buying into the pre-hype, if you will.
And see, he's a perfect example of a guy that is in a contract year. if the Cowboys have a potential out on Ezekiel Elliott in his just enormous running back contract after this season. All right. So that is important to note. And Tony Pollard is in his contract here. So after the season, they're going to have to make a decision. But they're going to have to eat approximately $12 million in dead cap if they release Ezekiel Elliott. So maybe they can trade him. Maybe they can get some of that back. But I don't know, man. I don't know. This is going to be interesting. Obviously, Zeke's going to still get his 200 plus carries this year because of how much they pay him. He's still not terribly old. Like, he's still only like 27 or something like that, or maybe 27 and a half, somewhere around there. So he's not too terribly old. And they're obviously paying him a ton of money. He's going to get his carries. But Tony Pollard just shown to be incredibly explosive, efficient. Still got a very good offensive line. And I mean, look at this though. Okay, 99 out of 99 bookend rookie card on card origins. I mean, yeah, this is at like the higher end. So you're right, Steve. Like this doesn't leave me with a ton of upside. I'm feeling not much upside, especially we'll see where this ends at. Oh, you guys probably can't see this. No.
So hypothetically, I mean, we don't know where that card's going to end. It's at 51, but let's say it ends at 70. And he gets thrust into a starting role and goes crazy. Where's the card? What's the card going to resell for? 90? Are people from Dallas crazy enough about Pollard that it's going to go for over 100? I mean, that's the whole thing. Is like, I don't think it is. It's a great card. It's a great looking card. It's numbered out of 99. It's a bookend, but
look at that corner.
I mean, what's really the ceiling, right?
Yeah, plus these origins have a lot of corner and edge issues. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I honestly, I think you're buying in at the higher end. The higher end, I'd say you can maybe squeeze a little bit more out of this lemon here during the season, but not a whole lot, right? Unless you got it graded, then it graded a 10, but this is not a 10. These origins are going to be really hard, and I'm already looking at a banged up top right corner there on that.
Yeah, that's not a grading candidate at all.
So let me go back to
I think that, like I said, you have some of the pre expectations built into his cards because people have been building up the hype on him for like 2.5 years now. So you just be aware of that. Not that there's not deals to be had, but the secret's already out on him. Like people have been investing in him for quite a while already and waiting for that breakout. So the prices are coming with an expectation already. Ooh, damn.
Do you feel that I mean, if he has the season that we kind of project for him, the potential outcome could be really big. Obviously, if Zeke were to miss any time. But he's obviously got the big breakaway play upside any given moment. And we know there's a lot of shootout games starting week 1 against Tampa Bay for the Dallas Cowboys. So, I mean, something like this is interesting right here. This gold rookie selections 105. Now, it doesn't have an OBO. I'd love to get this card for like around 70 to 80, but I feel, I mean, at 105, maybe that's 110 out the door. Do you feel like there's upside there in that, Steve?
I like where your head's at on that one. I think at like 70, $75, you've got some safe room to grow in that card. You would then be able to maybe see 150 out of it if he has a great year. At 105, you're kind of limiting yourself because by the time you pay shipping and tax, there's just not a lot of meat left on the bone. But I do want to say, commenting on the chat, I actually do think that Zeke, despite declining in production 3 years in a row, I think that if healthy, he's actually going to have a bounce back year.
Yeah, if healthy, yeah, Zeke he's due to put up some good numbers, like always, right? I mean, he's going to eat. He's going to get his touches. He's going to eat. And it could be a bounce back in terms of efficiency. You're right, man. You're absolutely right. Last year, he looked totally juiced heading into the season. And I drafted him at his ADP. I think last year I drafted him in the second round. I actually felt like I got a deal on him in a home league. I drafted him in a second round of a redraft league. That was $100 buy-in for that league. And, I ended up handcuffing him with Pollard later on in that draft. And I'll say from a fantasy standpoint, that was a mistake because when I started both of them, I never maximized what I could get if I started two good running backs, right?
Correct.
Maybe with Tony Pollard being used a little bit more in the passing game, maybe he gets, to that little bit higher upside for both of them. But ultimately, if Zeke's starting and Pollard doesn't show that he's being utilized in the slot or in the passing game more, then I think you still have got Zeke still going to be the guy. And Pollard will be sporadic, but when Pollard does get the opportunity, he's incredibly explosive and could break off a big play at any time.
And, especially with them talking about running him out as a receiver, which seems to be like, we talked about this before too, and it kind of spread. I called it the Debo effect, a couple months ago. And now you're hearing about all these other teams that are trying to emulate that with player A or player B from their roster. And he kind of fits that bill pretty well. And you know what? That could catapult him to that next level, even if he's sharing backfield work.
Yeah, man, it's slim pickings on Pollard. Either stuff that I'm seeing is like ending way far off, or the patch is just a plain, single colored napkin patch, or
Ooh, I like that disco prism.
Oh, I like that that Pandora out of 25, just $300. It's pretty steep. Disco Prism, there you go. Tomorrow night. Okay, now we're talking. Like,
See, that's a good buy right there. Now it's hard to say where it's going to go in the next full day, but that's a good buy. That's a card that could see, easily see $15 to $20 after a couple good games. So if you can get it $9 or lower, like you're in a good position.
All right. I've got 17% battery left on the laptop. The power is still not on here, guys. This is getting a little concerning. We've actually managed to put together a decent live stream. I'm super happy about that. So I'm very happy about that. Appreciate all you guys turning out tonight, and I love the chat, man. The chat has been lit tonight. Got Jets Crazy, Billy down home, man. Josh out there, pick 6. You guys having a great time in the chat. Love the engagement here. Do we have any other questions in the mailbag or any other topic? I know we talked about Mahomes at the beginning. It was just the fact that Mahomes' prices are so freaking cheap right now, at least on his base stuff, that it's tempting, right? I mean, I know their schedule is crazy and they took hits to the offensive line. They took hits, obviously losing Tyreek Hill. They took hits to the defense. No more Honey Badger. There's some other pieces that they're going to be without this year that they lost. But the base Donruss rated rookie Patrick Mahomes, I've also seen now looking at Fantasy Mojo's current ADP, the FFPC, the high stakes fantasy football drafts, where Patrick Mahomes is going in single quarterback leagues is after Herbert. Now Herbert is clearly ahead of Mahomes. Now it's going Josh Allen, Herbert number 2, Mahomes number 3 is the current ADP in those high stake fantasy leagues. So we can see that, like I've talked about, guys, how in the offseason the ADP has a direct correlation with the rookie card hype factor. And we're seeing that with Patrick Mahomes. Steve, I mean, should we be buying this dip, or do we think the best time to buy Mahomes is going to be November, December, because they're going to lose some games and he's going to potentially not be?
I agree. Right. I do think that without Tyreek Hill, they may see some setbacks in the overall passing game. Not to say I'm not taking anything away from his skill set, but it remains to be seen if anyone's going to really emerge and step up. They have guys they're throwing MVS's name around, and he'll always have Kelsey, but it's going to take more than just Kelsey for that team to go to the playoffs and win a championship. So I think if you're looking at Mahomes cards, I think that there's still a better buying opportunity if you wait. That's what I think.
Yeah, I just, man, it is tempting because these base donruses have typically gone since, I mean, going back to September of 2020, these cards have been going $250, $300, Steve. And now this is like what they were at their low point last November before they shot up for them going into the playoffs. So it's very tempting. Obviously, he's a generational talent. MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling has been getting a lot of buzz in training camp. We'll see how that translates to actual gameplay. But man, I'm with you, man. I think that based on the difficulty of their schedule, and the fact that their defense is not going to be as good, I think that the Chiefs actually lose some games here through September, October, leading to a dip because they're not going to be, front runners and leading their division. They're not going to be front runners in the power rankings from ESPN. He's not going to be a front runner for MVP if his team's not winning, because the MVP is a narrative driven award. The judges for MVP are guys like Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, all these sports journalists, famous sports journalists. So he's not going to be a front runner for that either if his team's not winning. So all of that stuff combined tells me that his card prices are going to go down, and the best time to buy him is going to be in November during the midseason lull, beginning of December. Maybe they make a playoff push and grab a wild card spot, because I do think that the Chargers or the Broncos or the Raiders all, I in my eyes, like, this year is their kind of time to shine. And so I'm just like, I would bet my money on them. Now, I know a lot of Chiefs fans don't want to hear that. Mahomes is generational, but look at this. They open up at the Cardinals, the Chargers at home, then the Colts at home, then they go to Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers, then they go back home for the Raiders, then they play the Bills at week home in week 6, and then they go to San Francisco and play the 49ers. That's their first 7 games of the season before they get a bye week in week 8.
If you go back about 6-7 months, I said I predicted a changing of the guard at QB position, and I think that this is not an instant happening, but I think we're going to see a slow transition. I mean, you're already seeing the decline in Mahomes prices, and if you remember last year, people were quick to sell off some of his stuff when they had hit a small speed bump, during last season. So I do think that can happen again here. And I think that people are going to start. You saw Herbert going ahead of Mahomes. How soon till people start valuing Herbert cards higher or Burrow cards higher?
Yeah, very true. And it is more difficult because the scarcity is not there with 2020 product like it is for 2017. But I mean, Josh Allen is a prime example. We could see him surpass Patrick Mahomes coming out of the gate here this year, because his base donruss, it doesn't have the helmet on, that wonderful 2018 rated rookie. Similar scarcity because 2017, 2018, not a huge difference when you look at the numbers of just variety printed. And Josh Allen's base donruss raw is currently at $80 to $85, Steve, whereas Mahomes is at $120. So it's closing the gap, man. And I'm interested to see if Josh Allen out of the gates here can maybe squeeze a little bit more out of that. I know it's going to be tough because he's going to have to win. Obviously, he's going to have to be in MVP consideration. But these Mahomes, man, are there Mahomes dipping under 100? No, not quite yet, but it's getting very, very close.
I'd be curious to see a chart on Optic Hollow Josh Allen's, because I feel like every time I look one up, they're more than they were the last time. So I think that they're going up, and I think that we're seeing that slow transition where hobbyists are preferring guy A over guy B, and there's going to be a slow switch. Not to say that Mahomes cards are going to tank through the floor, but there can only be one guy or 2 guys at the top, because if 10 guys excel at the position, not everyone can throw all their eggs in one basket and buy all 10 guys. They're going to have to pick and choose who they're going to invest in. In a lot of people's eyes, it's Mahomes. And if Mahomes starts falling out of favor, it's going to be Josh Allen. And if Josh Allen falls out of favor, there's a pecking order. everyone's buying Brady. That's not even a question. But as far as like who the next guy up is going to be, it's debatable after that.
So let's see what we got for Josh Allen over here. But just look at market volume real quick before we get out of here. 11% battery, so we're hanging in there. Baker Mayfield falling back down, man, because now we're on Thursday. So now we're going, week to week here. This is week over week. The wow buy it now here, week over week. So we can go to Baker Mayfield and see that his transactions have leveled off. Oh, there you go. There's the battery. So his transactions have leveled off. And now it's back to Herbert and leading the way big time over Burrow. And then Hurts has been climbing a little bit there. Let's see what we can find here for Josh Allen. He's typically on the front page here for total sales in the last 30 days. Let's see, but I want to see if we can find some Josh Allen optic hollow. See if we can.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's take a look.
Yeah, let's see. Josh Allen. Well, so let's see. Josh Allen. And so the movement that you see percentage change here is from the last transaction to what it is now. And of course, and their averages are so high that some of them are just like fractions of change here and there.
Oh, here we go. There it is. Wow.
Is that the optic hollow right there?
Yeah.
Let me see.
It's
a little dark. Oh, that's an optic.
Pink. Never
optic
mind.
Pink.
That's the pink.
I might have to zoom my screen out a little bit. There we go.
Bronze.
Ooh, son.
Oh, there's the.
That's an expensive card.
There it is. Look at that. Look at that upward arrow.
Let me zoom out a little bit here. All right. Let me zoom out a little bit more. All right. So, there's the upward arrow.
Look at that 52-week low. And that just goes to show you that there's, even for the best players, there's buying opportunities.
Yeah, there you go. 52-week low, 943. Where was that? That was January 2022. That must have been right after they got knocked out. No, it would have been right. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Beginning of December, mid-December, that's that mid-season low that we talk about, even heading into January. Now, we'd have to look at that January 4th transaction to confirm that it wasn't something to rule out. But
I don't think it's an anomaly. If you look at the previous dip, it's somewhere that the card has been in recent memory too. So if it was like a blip on the radar, I would, wave it off. But you could see a stretch there where the card was kind of being forgotten about, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it is a PSA 10 rated rookie optic hollow. So, I mean, that is a verified transaction right there. But the auction could have ended during the week in the morning. You never know. I don't even know what day January 4th was either, So
let's take a look. I'll tell you right now.
But there you go. So ultimately 1 year.
That would have been a Tuesday.
Yeah, so it could have been the wrong time on a Tuesday.
But yeah, it just goes to show you. I mean, that it's up $600 from where it was, 6 months ago.
Yeah, but if you're just on eBay looking at the solds, that's where a web app, something like this, comes in handy. Because if you're just on eBay looking at the solds only going back 90 days, 90 days ago was at the draft hype cycle, like the peak for so many guys that played good last year. And Josh Allen was one of the front runners, still is. So that card was at an incredible peak there, 1,600, and now it's at 1,500. You could be thinking you're getting a deal at 1,500, but you're not.
No, I agree with what you're saying, and that's just the thing too. I think that we don't do a specific hobby tip of the day on this show like you do with Carter. But one thing to keep in mind is that if you're buying cards to flip, is you need to be patient, because the market evolves every day, and you can see that by that chart. So if you're sitting on a high-end card or a dollar card or a $10 card, that selling window or that buying window are always shifting. And don't get impatient and just we lost Andy. To finish that, don't sell for a loss, because the cycle will come back around, especially on a guy like Josh Allen. And I do agree with you guys in the chat. He does take some hits. So, but he does have, I would say that he does have a better pass accuracy than Cam Newton. Andy went to go buy some D batteries to plug his computer back in. So yeah, Josh Allen. What player do you guys want to talk about while we're getting Andy back here? Throw up some names here. Yes, welcome to the Hitman Show. Drew Locke. All right. I don't think Drew Locke will start this year. I don't. I think that there's at least a mumbling that they trade for a quarterback still. But I don't think Drew Locke starts. I don't even think that he starts over Geno Smith, unfortunately. Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer is still a strong buy, but if you look back to what we were doing with him a couple months ago, the secret's kind of out. There's still some good deals to be had, but the secret's kind of out. So there aren't as many snipes on Josh Palmer as there was a few months ago, but he'll probably have a big role in the offense. And actually, Mike Williams, prior to this year, did have some consistency issues and some minor injury issues. So that's one thing to consider. Let's see. Undertaker. Oh, I don't want to break Andy's golden rule of talking non-football here, but Undertaker's a stud. I like Undertaker. Trevor Lawrence, sell or hold? I would say that depends what price point you got in it. If you bought on a dip, I would hold, but yeah, I'm not completely sold on him personally. I'll be completely transparent. I have 0 Trevor Lawrence cards. Jake from State Farm. They haven't printed any of his yet, but there could be a 101 custom card in the making, I heard. How bad was EJ Manuel considering Geno is still in the league? I think Geno's in the league because he knows the playbook and the coaching staff really likes him. Geno's just not a good quarterback. And if he starts the season for them, which it looks like he might, they're going to be extremely run dependent for sure. Tony Gonzalez, always a good buy. Tony Gonzalez. Which Rams running back do you think will pop off? Akers is pursuing, but Henderson can be a bad man too. I've been saying Henderson for a long time, and I know that wasn't popular, but it seems that there's some other content creators talking Henderson now. So Akers just disappointed when he came back from injury. So you could take that with a grain of salt that he was still hurt. Or you could say that that's just par for the course, and maybe he's not the guy that everyone thought he was. So I do like some Henderson, although the cat's starting to get out of the bag on him too. Guyton, I haven't seen enough on him yet to make an honest evaluation, but I have seen you guys talk about Guyton a lot, so I will take a closer look at that guy. Alberto, definitely poised for a big breakout. Definitely. Too athletic not to, and probably the best tight end Russell Wilson's ever had. Kirk Cousins, sleeping on another run at primetime comeback. I know that you guys talked about that primetime stat for him. I'm gonna check that as an anomaly. I think that offense is going to be really good this year, and I don't think the primetime thing is going to come into play. Carroll said if Drew Locke was drafted this year, it'd be the first QB taken. Wow, that tells you a lot about what he thinks of this year's quarterback draft class, that it wasn't very good. Why can't I get a Jackson Smith Mini auto helmet for $32, but you can't find a Grace McHale. I know those are your guys, Derek, but I don't have enough, not enough versed in those mini helmets to be able to help you with that one last year. Lawrence, they did say he's looking really good in camp so far. And they did add some weapons. So I think that he does fare well to bounce back, especially with the expectations. But you have to worry that the expectations were set too high from the beginning. So his prices have stayed pretty firm given the fact that they didn't do a lot last year. Russell Wilson, he's going to probably have an outstanding year. I mean, he's got just too many weapons around him. I know we've talked till we were blue in the face about Judy on the channel, but I do like KJ Hamler as a sleeper. Elijah Mitchell cards underpriced. Definitely. The one thing you have to worry about is they're quick to use a running back up and then move on from them. So there is a risk involved. But I think that he could have a really, really good year. Albert O's. Thought about Waller or any other Raider. Andy always gives me a hard time for being a Raider, like a closet Raider fan. I love the Raiders this year. I like everyone on the Raiders this year, Jacobs especially. And I think Devontae Adams will be fine. I think everyone thinks that he's going to take a step back with Carr. I don't. And I don't think that what's his name? Help me out here, guys. The other receiver, I don't think he's going to see a decline just because they added Adams either. Hunter Renfrow. Pizza rolls. They're actually nugs. I didn't feel like eating on live TV. Nene Westbrook, Akine. That's the guy from the Titans, right? Papa Shango. Papa Shango's a bad man. He made Ultimate Warrior bleed goop out of his forehead, so I'd be careful around the Papa Shangos. Gabe Davis on 1,000 yards. You know, Derek and I have some ongoing discussions with Gabe. You know, they keep talking Gabe up, but Derek is too heavily involved with the negative Gabe Davis talk to back off at this point in time. So I think his cards are already too hyped up, honestly. They are going for quite a bit. There's some deals to be had because not everyone's sold on him yet, but it's not like it was, 3 to 6 months ago where you could have got him for, 60% off from what they are right now. Why was Papa Shango late? I don't know. Is this a joke? Do I have any Trey Lance? I don't. I honestly don't. I don't hate Trey Lance. I just think his cards are overpriced. Najee Harris. I think Najee Harris can have similar production, but he will be used less just because there won't be a need to pile drive him through the floor. I mean, he won't make it through 3-4 years as a pro if he keeps running the ball as often as he does. Scary Terry, 1,200 yards. My concern with that is I think they're going to take a similar approach that they did with Wentz in Indianapolis and be very run heavy. So I think more closer to the low 1,000 area would be more realistic, but maybe an uptick in touchdowns from last year. Davis will have 1K yards. See, I think he will too. And I know that that's a polarizing card quest dropping a deuce. I know that's a polarizing thing, but I mean, everything, even there was new news on him today, and they said it was looking really good. Thoughts on the Giants, Kadarius and Saquon? I will say this, Kadarius Toney cards are very slept on right now. Someone asked about Jordan Love. I do have some Jordan Love stuff, but there's a chance that unless he goes to the Seahawks, you're going to be sitting on him for a while. So just keep that in mind. Locked out of my own stream. Hey, what's up, Andy? Thanks for the support, man. Trying to get to all the questions in the chat here. Top 5 eBay purchases. Oh, let's see. I haven't been doing as much buying. The work's been kicking my anus lately. So let's see. I didn't pick up anything too crazy lately, but I'll go through and see what There's probably a couple that stand out a little bit. Let's see. Something you guys will appreciate. Let's take a look here. I don't have any screen sharing capabilities, but hey, you know what? Someone asked about Tony Gonzalez earlier. I picked up a game-worn, game-used patch card of Tony Gonzalez from 07. What else? I picked up some low-numbered Staffords. Derek's favorite guy, Brevin Jordan. I picked up a rookie ticket auto there. What else? I took a flyer on a low-cost dart throw. Gerald Everett, who's going to be the tight end for the Chargers this year. Super Bowl matchup. Man, that's a tough one. But I could see the Bengals going back, honestly. I think Bengals and Buccaneers. Let me give you one or two more eBay purchases. Oh, here's one. And this is why I say deals can be had if you just look. I got a Cole Kmet Select, 2020 Select, numbered out of 10 for $21. $21. What else do we got here? Jamarcus 101. Leonard Fournette. I'm not sure they'll lean on him as heavily as they did last year, to be honest with you. They do have a lot more help around him, even with Gronk out. But it's hard to deny the amount of receiving receptions he had last year. Trey Lance or Tom Brady? Man, you know what? I don't know how to answer that. So I would just flip a coin 10 times and just say Brady. Andy, I don't know how to add you back, man. We're going to have to figure something out in the future as like a contingency plan. All right. We're going to have to end things in a moment here. But guys, Andy says, hey, hi and bye. Hey, hi and bye from myself. Hopefully we don't have any weather to contend with next week. So nice chatting with you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out the Discord as well. Nice chatting with you guys. Have a great evening. Peace.